In an exclusive 11 Alive poll, we asked whether arming teachers is the answer to gun violence in our schools. 40% said they would support teachers carrying guns. 46% opposed it, and 14% said they simply were not sure. Here in our state, 3 counties have already passed measures to arm teachers: Fannin, Laurens, and Elbert. But a Decatur school bookkeeper who actually convinced a gunman to surrender nearly 5 years ago when he walked into Ronald E. McNair Discovery Learning Academy sees it another way. We spoke to her earlier this week.
August 20th, 2013, if I had a gun, we'd have all died. I wasn't in a mental state to be able to do that. In the school system, teachers are dealing with hostile situations every day. They're on the front line. They're having to be the counselor, the teacher, they're having to be the mentor. And so how do you do that in the midst of all that's going on? So in my take on it, we don't need to arm our teachers with guns.
But it is a topic that continues to come up as communities debate what we can do to try to protect children and somehow end the violence in schools that continues to blossom.